What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we'll be taking a look over here at the Bitcoin price chart, along with the XRP price chart and the altcoin market, as we've continued to have some interesting price action over here in crypto. If you look over there on the right side of the screen, you'll see most things are in green. There's a couple things in the red down at the bottom, but most things are in the green. Interestingly enough, on a day or night where Bitcoin finally broke from this range and took out the low that was set over there on July 15th. Now, pretty much every video we take a look at it through this lens. I've left this oval here on Bitcoin on where I assume we are before a parabola can actually be put in place. It's been very interesting to watch the price action of the cryptocurrency market as Bitcoin really just waddled sideways in here, yet the altcoin market continued to break out higher, taking the total market cap of crypto into a new all-time high while Bitcoin still stayed flat. Then, as we know, in like the last 48 hours, we watched Bitcoin still just continue to sit here, yet a correction came in here for the altcoin market, taking it back to that 702 retracement. Total back to its all-time high from there on December 17th. And interestingly enough, Bitcoin goes for the move now, taking the plunge in here, but the market still holds itself. And you look over here on this list, we can organize it from greatest to smallest. Bitcoin's down there at the very bottom in here while the market's holding up. And of course, we're used to that not being the case most of the time here in the crypto market. If Bitcoin takes a big spill, the rest of the market takes an even bigger spill, right? But it still appears we're entering into that new dynamic in the market of what I do speculate to be working on an actual peak in here, which of course you guys have seen in here many times. And I'll take some of this off so we can see a little clearer that the idea of where we are for Bitcoin is right before a parabola gets built and we enter into euphoria and just waiting for that to kick in. And so it's been kind of like a twiddle your thumb situation here for the past few days, waiting to see how is this range going to develop itself and play out. Wondering, will we just produce kind of an ABC correction in here, or would we miniaturize one of these things and put one of them into play in here? Frankly, I'm a little excited to actually see that because the other process is quite a bit longer in regards to weeks that we would have to spend working that out. So to see this actually manifesting already gets me a little bit more excited that we could be further along in this and that ABC may already be in play, and to see how the altcoin market is reacting to that being mostly in the green here, along with us already backtesting this previous high. I think there's a reason to be cautiously optimistic right now that we're transitioning through this right now, merely because the altcoins are reacting very well in this environment, not going into new lows, even though Bitcoin did. As we head into the weekend, I think the things that we'll just kind of be watching for is to see if there's just one more little push in here for it to end up reversing on that. Have we completed this plunge in here? And I think really the altcoin market will probably tell the story if we start seeing Ethereum go to break new highs or something, which it's really close. If Ethereum decided to pop from here and get going, we maybe just go ahead and say that might have been it, that might have been good enough. But oftentimes what you do end up doing is once you break through it, you typically have one touch, you come down one more time, and then you can reverse on it. So either way, I think like just sitting here sideways, it was just a matter of saying, when is this thing going to play out? How is it going to manifest itself? Now that we've got things in motion, we can be like, okay, great. Either that was it, or you just got like a little dip to do right in here to go finish it. And whether it's going to, trick the world into thinking, this is a massive head and shoulders in here. There's like a back test of the head and shoulders happening in here, always possible. I think the trick with that is people will pick out their upward targets for that based on a head and shoulders, but I still don't think we're going to get as high as a lot of people think. I'm still thinking maybe that 130 area, 134, something like that. When we get closer to that, I would start building my arguments on it. We're just not in that phase for me to be doing that right now. But, it would obviously be logical, right, to think, oh, wait, there's still, we got to 114,600 if you got to 113,600, right? 1% more. It wouldn't be completely unrealistic for it to just be a quick little back test, one more touch, and then go. But it already appearing to be in motion, which is exciting. So it was just a sideways waddle of annoyance for me. And the second this thing is done, it'll be about watching that altcoin market, watching that Bitcoin dominance continue to go for the plunge still after backtesting that break. Now waiting for it to get in real motion and build a parabola and all the excitement come into play. And it's, been my thesis and hypothesis of this market that really everything is going to come to a conclusion together. And now we're just waiting for that to kick in. We're waiting for the evidence to prove itself that either Bitcoin has bottomed or it's got another $1,000 to go or so. But it's pretty clear we're in a different dynamic, and it's based on what I talked about in yesterday's video too, is that Bitcoin really just sat sideways over in here. And we watched the altcoin market liquidate on itself. About $1 billion was liquidated from the altcoin market while it stayed still. Then Bitcoin goes and crumbles and the altcoin market doesn't do the same thing. So it's like we have two different markets going on in the crypto market right now. And I do think that's because there's not a lot actually happening in Bitcoin, and the excitement and the action is actually taking place in the altcoin market right now, even though it may not feel like it. It's like it's early stages of it, because I don't think we actually reach a rational exuberance where everybody's on the same page until things get going. And I think, obviously once we get going, people are going to be believing that this is a full-blown break. We are now going into a parabola. We're going to $500,000. You'll have the Kathy Woods. You'll have the CNBCs. You'll have the Tom Lees. You'll have everybody going on TV saying 200, 400, 500,000 Bitcoin. But what I keep presenting is that these are phases of what it's like near the end. And this is when you see the excitement happen in the altcoin market. And so, of course, my thesis has been that for XRP as well, that we're going to see this action happen right now, because this is the phase of the market where it does it. It happens during expansions or it happens during tops. And so we can even see there with Bitcoin taking that plunge there. Last night, XRP did not set a new low. The altcoin market did not set a new low after hitting that 702. And I think a good thing to watch for heading into Friday, the last trading day of the week in the United States stock market, is to see if any surprises come out of here for the stock market, like for the Dow Jones, if it busts through the high, or if the Russell pulls some type of bust out here of the last retracements. We know that it's through the 702 retracement of this range right here, right? That's just the range that takes place from November till April. It's through. It's also through on the range that is much bigger over in here, right? We're back through that, but you're back at the 786. If some type of bust out happens in here, it's probably an early sign that that was the low for Bitcoin. But I think the moral of the story is, regardless of whether it was the low or not, it's very close. It looks like we're in it. We already have a C leg in motion. Now we're all just arguing on, is that the bottom of the C leg, or is there one more dip to go in here? And then it becomes entering into that phase. So like everybody else, there's no such thing as team sideways. I'm not on team sideways. It's not fun when we get stuck in it, because everybody's looking for direction and what this thing's going to end up starting to look like. But I think we're starting to finally see it now. So I'm starting to breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief that we've got something going on here. And this has been what we've been looking for. It's just surprising to see it's still just kind of following the same type of price behavior that it typically does. But it's giving a nice blueprint in here. And then, of course, as we're seeing with the altcoin market, seeing performance come out of there, implying that's what you also would expect in the event that you were getting ready to build a parabolic top. So whether or not we actually see much come out of this weekend or today, I hate predicting timing because I'm really, really terrible at it. But my guess is that by next week, I think we'll be ramping up in here. I think the market will be moving. So for right now, it's just about seeing, is Bitcoin got just a little dip left in it? That's the shorts closing out. We've got to whip ourselves off the bottom. But I am in full belief that we're getting really, really close. And I'm pretty optimistic that we'll see things starting to ramp next week. So rather than over talking on my words and saying more than I need to, I think that pretty much just summarizes it. It looks like that C leg's in play there for Bitcoin. That's been kind of the phase that we've been in. And it's expected that after you would have the big breakout, that's what would come next, somewhat of a back test, and then move on to the parabolic phase. So now we're at the point of being like, we look like most parts of this back test are complete. There still could just be a tiny dip left in here for it. But now it's about, can next week we actually enter into the parabolic phase? And that's going to be the thing we're watching for. So we'll check in on it every day like we typically do. And in the meantime, if anything starts to show itself that it's happening throughout the weekend, I'd probably post something over there on X. But otherwise, I'll check in with you guys on Monday. So I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend. Throughout the weekend, of course, if you want to check out the newsletter, you can check it out over here at blockchainbacker.substack.com. I audio record all of these. The most recent one is 22 minutes long. You can, of course, check out bcbacker.com, which has over 40 videos and 11 hours of content teaching you how to set up your own charts and indicators within TradingView and CoinTrader Pro. There are links here in the description of this video to the newsletter at blockchainbacker.substack.com and to bcbacker.com. Otherwise, in summary, the whole week was pretty pretty interesting. A lot of upward action and movement there in the altcoin market, and the back test happening there in the altcoin market, while Bitcoin just kind of went sideways. Now Bitcoin's doing its own thing, and the altcoin market's staying steady. Kind of an upside down world happening there between Bitcoin and between the altcoin market. But my thoughts are that's because we're reaching that phase where the show is probably the altcoin market here for the rest of the cycle. So we'll check in on it next week. And otherwise, guys, have an absolutely wonderful weekend. But that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.